Can I jump in on that conversation Dawn, you and Cheryl were having about Word?
Yes.
Yes.
Because I just caught part of it while I was getting ready, and can I show you how that works? Because
Sure.
it is cool. It took me. It's a big change from the way it used to be, so it wasn't intuitive at all when I switched to the. I think I have 2010, but let me show you. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, let's first bring Word up. Okay, now I'll share my screen. So you go to Insert. Tell me where you got lost when I go through this. So I'm going to go to Insert. I'm going to go to Smart Art. I'm going to find any of these that you want. And I don't know where it was. Was it under Matrix? But I know it's way down at the bottom.
Relationship.
Relationship. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And there, this one. It looks really different from the one I had, although you can get it to look like the one I had.
Well, there is a bullseye there. It stops at 5 entries, and this one stopped at 7.
Where is the bullseye? Do you see it on my screen here? Am I blind?
Here.
Right, it's right. It's the row right above where you were at, over one to your right.
So tell which row?
Up one row, and it's one over to the right. It's above this. Go right where you're at. Go down, down, down. Second from the bottom. Third one over.
Oh.
One.
Oh,
no.
there it is. Oh, okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Okay, good. Teamwork. So here I am. So the way this works is you click on these arrows, and it pops this out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then when you type there, you type whatever you want, and by pushing Enter, it adds a new one.
Right, but it stops.
But it stops after North America. After North America, it only allows you to do 5.
Yeah.
Oh.
They show up, but you get that little thing that says everything with the red in front of it won't show up.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so the first one you did stops at 7, so I dropped county.
Yeah, I
so
did.
I can get to universe.
That's a big change from what it used to be. I wonder if the other one, let me just go back and change this and see if the other one I did by accident. Looks like that's got a bunch of X's in it too, though.
Yep, stops at 7.
Yeah, wow. Well, that's not good. You have, all right. So so what you did was exactly the right thing. You just adapted. But that's too bad. That was really nice when we could put a ton of them in, because we had great conversations about what's a city, what's a county, what's a state. And
right.
Those types
because like I was telling Dawn, that at that age level where they do that, they have a lot of trouble with that concept.
They sure do. And then it's sets and subsets, which Common Core doesn't really get into until middle school, but it certainly introduces that when you think about the set of the city within a county, within a state, and all that stuff. So it's a great way to introduce that too.
Mm-hmm. Well, and a fun way to do that, especially up at 8th grade, is if you did the one that's more like a tree, where it's what am I thinking? It has a box, and then it has drop down and has boxes, and drops down and has boxes. Flowchart, more like a flow chart. Because that one you could take universe, put 3 or 4 like the Andromeda Galaxy, the Milky Way Galaxy, and color your address in a different color than the other ones. And then you could have the different continents and color North America different, and then you could do the different states and color the state that you're in differently, and then county, do the different counties that are in that, different cities in that county.
That's a great idea,
and see that visual.
That's nice. I like that.
I do too.
Yeah, very nice. Well, so let's see. How are you? everyone. How is everyone?
Fine.
Good. How are you?
Good, good. All right. Well, let me bring up my screen share just to show you what I think we have on the agenda today, and you tell me if we need to add anything. I tried to pick it from what we were talking about. So I've got flipped classroom, because there were questions about that, really good questions. And I actually went online and researched at some of my favorite places to see what their thinking was on that. So we'll talk a little bit about that, about using it when a lot of kids don't have computers at home or aren't allowed to use them, that sort of thing. Using MS Word, saving Excel docs. Someone asked about that. I think it might have been Lonnie. But is anyone interested in that one, saving Excel docs to a wiki? I wasn't really sure what the person meant by that. I wasn't sure, because you can always save an Excel doc as a screenshot, but it's not interactive. And Google Spreadsheets, though, you can embed, and then they are interactive. So I wasn't sure where she was going on that. So if it wasn't any of you, I'll save it for the next group. Tessellations, someone had trouble with that? No one here?
I just was wondering, I was expecting us to use the cells and the tessellations the way I was doing them, and somebody else I went and looked at was just basically putting graphics on top of the cells. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so
Yes.
I thought it was going to be working with the cells itself, and I'm going, I'm not getting this. But I was able to make it. That wasn't a problem. I just thought it was going to be working in the cells to make the tessellations.
You could be, I haven't even tried that, to use the cells that way. I use the cells for drawing pictures like gingerbread house and stuff like that for the little guys. And so, but putting the tessellations on, it's great for middle school because they talk about that stuff. It's great as a tie-in for art. And you use Excel as the backdrop just to show them, okay, this is Excel. It's easy in Excel because you can go grab the shapes. And it's one more way to get kids comfortable using Excel rather than something else. It gives the natural grid marks where you can line these shapes up, which Word doesn't have. It's probably the easiest way to line shapes up in tessellation. Tessellate the shapes where they look like a tessellation. So it's a nice way to get kids thinking about it and tie in with art and different things. But yeah, I haven't tried to use the cells per se as tessellations because they're too boxy. So, okay, so we won't worry about that one. Oh, there were several problems with the binders of lesson plans. They are collected in Adobe 8, but they shouldn't be a problem to read if you're in Adobe Reader. They're not supposed to be a problem at all. But I will tell you, I have these on Teachers Pay Teachers, and about every 25th purchaser emails me and says, I can't open it. And I finally, it seemed to be the PDF reader that they were opening it in. So I don't know.
I didn't have any trouble with that.
You didn't? Okay, so you probably had Adobe Reader and it opened fine. Did either of you guys have trouble with that?
Yeah, I had just recently taken Adobe off of my computer, and when I first went to open it, they weren't there, so I reinstalled it, and then they appeared along the left-hand margin.
Okay, that's what they're supposed to look like. Really,
yeah.
Piece of cake. But there are all these other generic brand PDF readers, and they don't always open right in those. So
I could open the file, but I didn't see any lesson plans. It was just all the other generic. But the individual lesson plans didn't show.
Yeah. So if you activate Adobe, then they'll all appear on the left margin.
Well, I'm wondering if it's a Google Chrome thing, because that's what I use, and it opens it up in Google Chrome and whatever it uses to read PDFs.
So yeah, I'm using Google Chrome also, and I still had to do the Adobe to get it to open. Mm-hmm.
Do you have Adobe Reader? Dawn?
I thought it was Flash, so I might be wrong about that.
I thought I had Adobe Reader.
You might have to do the Flash plug-in.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm pretty sure it was the Flash, yeah.
The Flash doesn't like to work with Google Chrome.
Right. That's why I had disconnected it or just uninstalled it, but I put it back on and it seems to be functioning okay now.
Oh.
That's interesting. I will tell you, sometimes it has a bar across the top of the screen and it says it may not display right. Do you want to change your PDF reader? An orange bar. You know how it always has those bars. Do you want this to activate? Do you want to use it? It's one of those bars at the top. And if you click that, it does work. But you have to see it up there before it goes away. It gives you like 5 seconds. So, but truly, even on Teachers Pay Teachers, I just send them all the exploded lesson plans, because it's one of those things. There's too many little directions. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try that. Let's try. And by then, people are just completely frustrated. That's why I just put them up there. But I wanted you guys to know the things that you can look for, because you're going to be running a lab of students, and they're going to go home and say, it wouldn't open, and then you're going to have to give them some suggestions. So that's why I wanted to cover it with you. So that's interesting with the flash. I didn't think about that. I wonder if that's a bigger problem than anything else. So I'm glad you brought that up. Homework drop boxes. This is an interesting question. Do you guys use homework drop boxes?
No.
I haven't, but I'm going to try starting this year. We have a Dropbox that goes along with Gaggle.
Oh, yeah, good. Because we had one that went with Schoology, so I'm glad Gaggle has one, because those are the easiest. The kids know the programs. They probably are comfortable with Gaggle, so to use the Dropbox is fine. Do you think, Cheryl?
I'm hoping that it's going to be easier for them.
Yeah, I bet it will.
We have a network Dropbox that our 5th grade teachers use with the students, but I don't use that one too often, but it's a network, a Dropbox for the network.
And they can't access that from home, though, can they?
No.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't use it. Because
yeah, I don't blame you. I try to get away from anything that is just a tool at school that they can't take home, because that's not very useful to them.
Right.
It takes care of our problem, but it doesn't help them. So I like that you don't use that. So if you don't have GAF, which maybe you do for 5th graders and up, maybe they have email that way, I think using parent emails is a really good idea. The parents, in my case, my parents have actually liked it. They've actually said, do I have to set an email account up for my child when he's in 3rd grade? No, for their homework, because 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 3rd grade up, I require homework, and I want them to email it to me because I want them to learn those skills. And I tell them, no, I'm real happy to have it go through you because I like the transparency. So I found that a good solution if you don't have an embedded Dropbox in a program like Cheryl does, or if they don't have GAF.
Well, Gaggle gives each child an email account too. So all of our students K through 5 have email accounts.
Wow, that's really nice. That's good. So what do you think, ladies? Would that work? Or what else? What other problem can you think of that wouldn't work? Do you think your parents would mind that?
I currently, right now, if my kids type something and they need to get it to me, they usually send it to me attached in an email, usually using their parents' email. Where you should be getting GAF this year for all of our students. We got a Google Chrome book lab at our K3 site, and so that's going to require it. It's just going to be a matter of how far into the school year we are before it's up and running.
Right, right.
So we'll see.
My students don't have email accounts, so I have no way of collecting any kind of homework from them. I only collect work done in the lab. I would say probably 70% of my students don't have access to computers outside of the school either. So
just puts a break on it right there. Yeah, because you don't want to make it impossible. I have had forms I had them fill out, which wouldn't help if your kids don't have access outside of school. and they only worked about 25% of the time because they get lost. And I had them online, they could download them, but nothing really helped. So the fun of doing a new skill like email got a lot more forms in than the paper. So it's a good question, and I think there's a lot of solutions. You just have to figure out what works for your group. And one of them could be not assigning homework. I mean, if it gets to be where you set up 2 tiers, some have computers at home, some don't, you just don't even want to do that then. So, okay, and then I liked some, I can't remember who was commenting on quick assessments. They had the clickers in their classroom and they used the quick assessments test. Was it either of you three?
It was me.
Oh, good. I love that. And you got me really thinking about it because there's a lot of literature out now on how compelling those quick assessments are, how important they are, how much more worthwhile they are than a big, okay, it's quiz time or it's pop quiz time or anything. To just have that spot of a quick assessment like you do in Socrative or Today's Meet or with your clickers. So I'm glad you brought that up because it reminded me to talk about that.
Well, it's funny because in today's world they're obsolete.
The clickers, yeah.
But they're still great.
Mm-hmm. Are they obsolete?
Well, nobody has them. They're not a big selling thing anymore, though universities got to a point for a while that you had to buy it like a textbook because that's what all the professors were doing, was doing clicker tests. So, but I haven't heard anything about them on any platform in the last couple of years, but we still have them and they're still great.
Are you talking about like active votes?
I don't know what those are. Ours are, which I have to laugh, it's the clickers we own are called CPS. And I go, you called something Child Protective Services for your acronym? But,
oh no.
But they're a clicker system. A Smartboard company makes their own version of them. There's 2 or 3 companies that were top of the line with them, and every kid gets assigned. You assign a clicker number, so child 1 has number 1 clicker, and they respond either in use them a lot in math.
That's an active vote that goes along with the active board.
Is that what your company? Yeah.
Yes.
So it works really well. For a while, when I was teaching junior high math, when we were doing order of operations, after a few days of, okay, they got 5 and the answer's 10. What did they do to get 5? So we got to do that troubleshooting. The kids started doing it automatically. It was great. They learned more about order of operations doing that than anything else I taught.
That's interesting. Well, they have a big advantage that they don't have to log into Today's Meet or Socrative or anything. So it's a lot more user-friendly, I think. I haven't used clickers, but from my perspective, once they know how to use that clicker, they just pick it up and they start doing it rather than, okay, what was my password? How do I get into this? Is my computer booted up? And you waste that 5 minutes getting everything going. So I hope they're not going away because I think they fill a really big part. And did they use yours in your school, Cheryl?
They haven't checked them out in a while. I know last year no one checked them out.
Oh, that's
we have like three or 4 sets of them.
Interesting.
But
well,
nobody's checking them out.
Yeah, are they using Today's Meet or Socrative?
No.
No, they just, okay.
That's still old school.
So remind them that these really quick assessments are really valuable. They have a much bigger effect on kids than the long ones, even long being a pop quiz, 10 minutes. I mean, the quick assessment you do on Socrative would take 3 minutes or 2 minutes, 1 minute. I mean, they're real quick. So, okay, so that was, did I miss any other questions you guys want to talk about?
I had something that was kind of more related to last week's content, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I've never used my own start page, and people have recommended that Proto page, and I wanted to find out exactly how you use that. My lab is set up probably very similarly to yours, K through 5, and they come to me once a week. So I didn't know if you had, previously the way I've always done it is I just have icons on their desktop of things that I introduce them to as we go along, and the kids inevitably rename the icons or move them or trash them, or so I didn't know if you on your start page you teach them how to get there, and then is there one for each grade level, or how does that work?
Let me show you mine, because I like it, and I've tried other ones. I actually tried 5 before I picked this one, and I like it. I haven't changed from it. I've liked it ever since I got it. So, but I'm really open to anyone who says, like, some people like Symbaloo. I see its purpose, but it doesn't do everything I want. So let me show you mine, because from what you were saying, it does everything you just brought up. So I'll show you.
And it is a Proto page?
It is Proto page, so it's free. The whole thing's free. The guys there are wonderful, too. I had a big problem with mine, and they were on it immediately. And for free, I was just amazed. So this ad closes. So that's kind of nice. But here's mine. You can rename this up here, anything you want. Just click and type. These are my tabs. And it'll put pretty much as many tabs as you want, although I haven't tested it, so Dawn might find out it stops at 9 or something. So I got this many in without any problem. I did the colors, and they very easily, you right-click on the tab, and, oops, I guess I have to be in it. Right-click, well, that's working. Maybe it's a double-click. I forget how I colored the tabs. It should have just been a right-click. It's not doing anything. Okay, I'll have to think on that. But tabs. Huh. Oh, because I'm not logged in. Ha! So there you go. You can't move anything because it doesn't think I'm logged in.
So you're looking at it as if a child would then, a student?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the way the child sees it. And you can see they can grab and move stuff. I don't know if it stays. They constantly are changing the skins down here on the calculator. They can't change. They can't go into any of these though and change what's in them because there's no way for them to do that. I've never really had them move the boxes around. I set it up on the left. This corner is the bookmarks we're using in class that day, and then down below here is stuff. A clock and a calendar and a picture and whatever. I happen to be in 2nd grade here. 5th grade, I'll go there because it has more variety. And then I put the calendar, and that's from Google, obviously, and then any rules. You can put anything rich text in this box. They can't. A web widget, Google Maps. So talk amongst yourself a minute while I figure out what my login for this is. I'm going to turn my screen share off for a minute because I have to.
Yeah, I can see where this would be very helpful and make things move along very nicely in class. But one thing that I consistently teach kids and show them how, especially at the younger ages, is how to get places by typing things into the search engine and getting where they want to go. And so this kind of eliminates the necessity for them to try to troubleshoot those sorts of things.
Unless, of course, they're my kids, and I put my links on my web page, and they all ignore it and do a search anyhow.
There you go. I agree with you about that, though. I want them to learn how to type an address into the address bar. But there just are a lot, and I teach them that in other ways. But yeah, that is a good comment. Okay, so now I logged in, finally. Figured out my login. They can't log in, so now you see all the edits here, which lets me click here, and then I add more websites. I can drag them around, because then I'll always put whatever they're talking about at the moment, I'll put that at the top. So they ended up with human body at the end of last year, so that worked fine. And way down here at the bottom was the money websites we talked about in September. And that
I don't see your screen right now.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to put it back on screen share. Okay. Okay, so this left side is box of links that go with whatever.
Still not up. Oh, there it is.
Well,
There we go.
There he is.
Whatever we're talking about in class. And I collect these every year, and then I'll just drag whatever to the top that we're talking about. Human body, they ended this class year talking about human body, and way down here is money. Money, well, okay, life cycle, they actually, so I could drag that up, and then I just put it at the top whenever they're dealing with that. And I add to it. If I go into edit, and I get a really cool website I love, I just add to it. Then typically what I do is, this is their sponge time. So if they get done with the project early, I say, well, you can go anywhere you want under life cycle websites, or whichever I direct them to. And they know, okay, I'll go to the proto page, I'll go over here, and I'll pick life cycle websites, and I can go to any of these I want. And then the other kids see them doing that, and they want to go to those fun websites. So it encourages them to finish, but it keeps them from distracting other people doing that when they get done early. And 5th grade, when you get the kids a little older, you can put a calendar in, you can put a video, you can put a map, Google Maps. This is my Padlet. We did that at the end of the school year, and they just all filled it up. I let them go crazy. I didn't mind because it's the end of the school year. So they just put everything in there. I have this cool thing down here that just reminds them, social media, this is what's going on in social media. So if you ever thought it was private, look at these numbers. They're ridiculous. So I like it. You can go to add widgets, and it has a whole bunch of new widgets you can add for whatever you need done. You can set colors and settings here. And now I think if I click, there we go. Now I can get my tab color. And this is how I change the colors for the younger kids, because they identify color obviously better than anything else. You can also have multiple columns, whatever way you want to. So anyway, that's my start page. I had it, I set all the computers up where they booted up to this, and then the school didn't like that because they wanted booting up to the school's website, which I understand. So then I just put it as a tab on the toolbar up here at the top. So the kids would.
That's a good idea, because I was wondering the same thing. Our school system has it where as soon as it comes up to the school system's start page.
Yeah.
And I was wondering how you could do it where the kids get to that.
Yeah.
Does each teacher have a web page?
Yes, but the kids have to go through so many steps to get to the teacher's webpage.
They learn that pretty quick, though. And can you talk to your IT person, especially you teach in a computer lab, right?
No, I teach the teachers.
That's right. We have across the top of our district or our site page, there's a link that says classroom teachers. And so to get to my web page, they go there and then go to my web page.
Right, that's the way ours is pretty much set up now.
The worst thing I have is I use ClassJump, and ClassJump doesn't work on our XP machines because Internet Explorer is too old. So when I'm in our old computer lab, they can't use my page.
Oh.
So that's when they get to learn how to type in the address themselves.
So your IT people won't let you use anything besides IE?
Well, right. I mean, she's been warned that Chrome is going to have to be used. It's just that our XP machines are so old it doesn't have the IE10. On our new computer lab where we have the whatever it came after XP.
7, Windows 7.
It works there, but it doesn't work on our XP lab. So I have a start page that's only good in one of our 2 labs.
Oh boy. Because normally the first thing I do is switch browsers, but you can't do that.
Nope.
Yeah. Interesting. But you know, we work with what we have, and it's good. The students have to work with what they have too. So I think that's good. I kind of address all those websites, the teacher website and the school website and the login for Everyday Math or Raz Kids or whatever those are. I put them all over on, let me bring that up again. I put them all over in this box of links on the left under bookmarks so that they just go there. And then they know that they can go there and Everyday Math and Raz Kids, and I just keep them all in one spot collected there for them. And if teachers tell me, okay, this is another site we go to a lot, whatever that might be. I'm trying to think of another one. Oh, SumDog or something. I'd put it right over in that spot so that it would be very easy for the kids to find, rather than put SumDog under money over here on the right side.
So they can look at your page on any computer wherever they are, right?
And home.
Even at home, okay.
Oh, yeah. And the parents love that because they can tell their kids, okay, you can go on the computer and go to the internet, but only Mrs. Murray's websites. So the parents love the idea of this because it gives them some sense of confidence. So anyway, that's Start Pages. I think they're wonderful. So, okay. So then,
I had some. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just moving on. So what's up?
Totally moving on again. Back to wiki pages, and how exactly do you set up wiki pages for students that don't have email accounts?
They now have a join code. Wow.
Okay.
I think it just came out. So you just have a join code. It's a snap. I started using it as soon as I saw it. I started using it it came out after this class started.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, when I've looked at it before, it needed an email account, and so I didn't know exactly how to manage that. I knew there was a way with Gmail where you could give the kids an extension on your own Gmail, but I didn't know how much of a nightmare that was to monitor.
Oh yeah. Let me see if I can bring it up, and I'll show you the join code because I have it out there for a couple other people. And it just was in. I had one person it's a struggle. There's so many steps to do this. Sign up for a wiki. That this one student in another class I'm teaching was just struggling with it. So it's not in that one. So I gave her the join code, and she had it in a snap. And her dad was getting involved, and he was getting so annoyed because it was a student class for the younger kids. Okay. Oh, no, that's not in that one either. Okay, well, I can't find it. They expire after a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. So let me try 4th grade, and then I'll give this up. And it keeps it right up at the top, but I'm not seeing it. Okay, I'll show you where I get it, though, because then you'll see. I'm going to screen share with you. So I'm in here, I'm under members. And right down here, it's now got the join code. And there it is.
Okay. Excellent. So it looks kind of like Edmodo does it. Okay.
Yes. It just took them a while to catch up with that, but it was very quick. It was very easy. So I think that's a good way for students to do it in the future. And actually, that's what I'm going to use in the future, because you guys, as a rule, didn't have too much trouble, but I have had lots of people have lots of trouble other times. But I can't think of anyone here who had trouble joining. So, a good question. I'm glad you asked that. Okay, any other questions? We're good? We can go on to talking then about our topics, digital note-taking. I get so excited about digital note-taking. I can see that it could be a problem. If you're a one-to-one school, it's just not, because then there's a way to do it. But since none of you are one-to-one schools, are you?
No.
So otherwise, I can see until you get to middle school or high school, it's probably a much bigger deal to try to do note-taking, because the kids aren't that comfortable with having that iPad there and whipping it open and start typing away on notes. So, but it's something.
I'll be honest, I'm not even that comfortable with it. I didn't find it very helpful to me.
Yeah, it takes a little getting used to. And then you suddenly realize all of your notes are in one spot, and it starts making sense. But it did take me a while too, of just, well, which do I use? Because Evernote does certain things and Notability does other things, and which way do I want to go? So, but I'm on it now because I went to 3 conferences this summer, and boy, without my note taking, I would have been a mess. It kept everything organized for me. And then you can go up and grab a screenshot and put it right in your notes. So you've got whatever was on the screen with the links that you couldn't write down fast enough. So, okay, so Excel then. So did we talk enough about Excel?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And exit tickets. Let's see, what would, I don't know. So we did talk, I was thinking of the exit tickets with the quick assessment. That would be a great time to do a very quick assessment like you talked about with the clickers and have them, that's a great exit ticket. And plus, it is proving to be very valuable for students remembering information. So that, or a poll is another good one, where you create a poll in PollDaddy or wherever you create it in, and then have the students go there and answer the poll before they leave class. And that makes it really quick. So the flipped classroom. So what did you think about the flipped classroom? A couple comments, couple concerns about using it with students. What did you think participating in one?
I thought it was easy to do. Because you could do them at your own leisure, which children might not have that option to do it at their own leisure. They might have a due date or whatever. But I think it was easy. The only problem would be those students who don't have access to internet, to a computer at home. But I think other than that, it's something that the kids would be really excited about. It's a new concept to them. And I just wish there was a way that I could do staff development that way.
It would be nice.
I've done kind of a modified version of flipped classroom because, again, my students don't have access to technology at home, so they'll have them come in as soon as they finish their keyboarding practice bell work. Then their assignment will be to go on, for example, like Edmodo and watch the video that gives them the instructions for what they do for the entire class time. So even though the true idea of flipped classroom is to have them doing that work outside the classroom so that they don't take up the time within classroom, I've kind of just sort of done it all within the classroom and with some success.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm going to have to do something like that. I've done things in the past where they've had a week to go off and do something like on Monday, and they have to have it done by Friday. And then the kids could come in and use my computers in my classroom if they didn't have access at home. They could come before school or during a recess break. Well, getting rid of XPs, I just went from 6 computers to 2 in my classroom.
Oh, boy.
And you had the idea of having the lab open. Well, our kids are all bused. So they could go before school, but they can't go after school because they all get on a bus and go home.
Oh. Okay.
And I'm not as bad as, about half of my kids have computer internet access at home. Another 25% only have it via phone. And I don't know about you guys, but watching an educational video for half an hour or 20 minutes on my phone is not going to do me any good.
No.
And then I have about 25% that don't even have that. Because we have haves and have-nots, not too much of a middle class in our district.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, it's the low kids with your have-nots that need that flipped classroom scenario probably the best, and yet they don't have access to it. So,
Right.
in if everything was perfect world, I would do it in a heartbeat. I just don't know how to do it without full access, and I'm not sure how to create the videos myself.
There's getting to be a lot of resources out there where you can use someone else's created resources. I haven't done that. I don't know if I like it or not. My mind's open, but I'm not sure it would serve my particular class group. as opposed to what's another teacher's particular class group was. But there's getting to be a lot of resources like that out there. I guess in small enough chunks, you could take, like I've showed you guys, and okay, here's a 3-minute video on how to do a Tagxedo, that sort of thing. I think those work fine, but not as a bigger picture. I mean, I won't say not. I can't quite get my mind around that. Okay, so I found a couple of links, which I forget where I put them, but I'll find them. But they were people exactly answering questions like yours, that their kids, not the bus one though, that's a new one. I haven't seen that. And that, gee, that really makes sense. Of course, kids aren't there. Because you can solve it by having the lab open or the library open where kids can access that flipped resource there. And then they, instead of goofing off after school or playing or relaxing, whatever it is, they're going to spend that half hour or 15 minutes or whatever it is on your flipped classroom materials. One solution. Another one is if you have enough kids that they can work together, then that works. If they can get to each other's house and do it, that works. I don't know. Another one someone came up with, which sounded kind of good, was to have the library check out nanos, which had the material on it. You'd load it onto that nano, and the kids would check it out of the library and take it home, and then they have to bring it home. Do you guys have any devices like that in your library? No.
No.
No. Okay.
But starting this year, all of our students 3 through 5 will have one-to-one that they can take home. So that's going to be helpful.
So that will help.
Yes.
But still have the problem, there will be some parents who don't want their kids on computers.
Right.
That's an education process. And I've had that. And I'll tell you, a couple of them I just had to excuse because I'm not going to tell parents how to parent.
Right.
You can only push that so far, and then you're telling them how to parent, and I don't think that's my job. My job is, anyway. So, yeah, so you'll have to try educating the parent and see if you can overcome that in that way. But I'd be interested to see how that works. So, and then the other one they came up with, which was create DVDs of the material, send it home with the kids, they bring it back. What do you think of that one?
It's a lot of
That's
work.
a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Exactly where mine went. I can't see doing that. I don't know how I'd have time to do that. I know certainly I would make the time. We all do more than we ever thought we could. Certainly I would make the time. But on the other hand, I just don't know how effective that would be. They'll break the DVDs, scratch them, not bring them back. I don't know what they'll do. I'd love to hear someone who's had an experience with that. The person writing about that said she did it and they brought them back and she wrote over them and sent them out again, and it sounded great. But
What about recording a lesson of yourself on your phone and uploading the video into your proto page or something?
you could do that.
Yeah, because then, like I've seen teachers do it on YouTube, but then on student computers they can't access YouTube. But I've seen a lot of situations where teachers will invite like a student that needs the extra help to come in after school and hold the phone for them while they video, and have the student be the videographer and do your little 7-minute lesson and then post it, and then that kid is getting a little bit of extra reinforcement and will still watch it later, and I thought that was a neat idea.
That's a great idea. You could easily put that on ProtoPage. You can put videos there, all sorts of stuff. So that would work.
Yeah, they were talking about all sorts of different equipment and programs that you need in order to make videos. And one of the teachers said, just use your phone.
Yeah, that's true. And you could, if it's not too big, 7 minutes wouldn't be too big, but you could actually email it. Gmail will take 20 megabytes.
Mm-hmm.
Other systems will only take 10, but 7 minutes probably is still going to be under 10 megabytes. So you could almost do it that way to the parent email.
Especially if you can record in a non-HD setting. I mean, just reduce the quality of the video. The other thing is ThingLink is coming up with the ability to attach stuff to videos. So I used a TeacherTube video that I found on how to do a partial quotient division, and then I added links to it. So it's this little 3 done by a student teacher, I think, video. And so if you could download that, that would work as well. And then it has those extra pieces, so it's a really concentrated short. Probably could send that one via email as well.
That's a good idea. Because that
or even just the link to get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's going off the ThingLink server rather than anything you send. So that would send really easily. You
Yeah.
can put ProtoPage or email or whatever you wanted. That's a great idea. And that's appealing because you've got a picture and you just have these 4 or 5 spots you're supposed to click.
Right.
So
they've got the video now. They're piloting right now the video so that you can do it in a video.
Okay, got it.
Static picture, but there's a video. So like in the one that I did, I think I posted it out so everybody can see it on Twitter.
Uh-huh.
But I posted like they needed their 6 facts, so I linked out to they could go pull up their 6 facts and their 9 facts, so that link popped up, and something else, so they could go get those resources while they were watching the video.
That's really good. I like
and
that.
what is this through? ThingLink? Is that what you said?
Link. Yeah, Thing, T-I-N-G, link, L-I-N-K. And I got this thing online where you can do self-paced program, and it's really cool. Another one of those stupid things. I spent more time this summer doing tech classes. Hours and hours and hours of it.
What grade do you teach, Dawn?
5th.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be teaching this year a 6th through 8th grade technology enrichment class, if they can 100% figure out how to cover my 5th graders while I'm teaching that class.
Mm.
So,
That's fun. Those are
Yeah.
great.
So are you at a K through 8 school?
where our school is a 4-8 school, so it's a 4th through 8th.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. All right, so that's flipped classroom. Gamify. Anyone gamify their classroom? Teach through games?
No.
Unless, of course, you'd call playing Some Dog teaching through a game.
You almost could, but actually gamifying it's a real game with levels, and it's much more gamey than it is anything else, but it has to incorporate the pieces of learning, higher order thinking, problem solving, critical thinking, or they don't count it. So it's one of those. They're very effective. iCivics, I think some of the ones, I think I gave you a whole long list. I love iCivics, but that's middle school, so that might be good for you, Dawn, in the next year. And even Minecraft, done correctly, Minecraft Edu has some great stuff. But I will say that you want to get everyone's buy-in, all the stakeholder buy-ins. Oops, I think I went away.
No, you're still there.
Oh, good. I went away on my screen. Now I'm back. Okay. You want to get everyone's buy-in before you do that, because the first thing they will think of is play, not education. So you want to make sure your admin understands, the other teachers understand, all that stuff. So that's the only cautionary piece with gamifying your classroom. It's very effective, though, because you have the kids' attention, you have them right in their sweet spot, right where they like to go is games, and then they're learning with it. So it's a very effective way to do things. Okay, Google Earth. So what did you think of Google Earth? Do any of you
didn't get it.
Google Earth? You didn't pick that one? Yeah, that's okay.
I didn't get a chance to play with that one yet. I still plan to.
Yeah, yeah.
And I want to say probably more bells and whistles than substance.
Oh, really? It actually has a ton of substance. So what are you thinking there?
Well, just going through what you were showing and doing, I mean, I like the idea of, and I guess if I hadn't done ThingLink this summer, I would be more impressed with it. But I was thinking, particularly with my 7th and 8th graders and my 6th graders, doing the Wonders
Mm-hmm.
idea, the wonders of the world, because 6th and 7th grade is ancient, and they could go off and go find one of the wonders. China could, the 6th graders could go look at the Great Wall of China, whatever. But except for, and then write about it. Well, great, they've got to go find the lats and longs and go look it up. But I could do a thing link where they can go get a picture of the Great Wall of China and add all of that information a whole lot easier, meatier than finding the lat longs. I didn't play with that much to see what else I could do with it. And then my big thing is it all has to be downloaded, which means I've got to get the powers that be to download Google Earth to all the computers.
It does.
So that's a big hindrance. And then after doing ThingLink, I just don't know where the meat and potatoes would be for what they're learning about that site. Does that make sense?
It does. Now, especially with your ancient civilizations, to see the entire geography around the area would be, that was their world. It wasn't where they lived. It was that they had mountains here and they had rivers here and they had, that would really drive that picture home for them of how that their geography created the civilization, allowed it to survive or fall apart. So that would be, I think, especially effective with those older groups. But you do want to give the kids time to explore and look around and come up with that themselves. So look at that river. I wonder how often they use the Nile, or I wonder where that leads, or how that tied to everyone else. And it's got the timeline thing at the top, the slider, where you can slide it back to any point in the past. I'm not sure how far back it goes. Maybe not.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, so you can pull it back and it shows you the geography of the area at that point. So it's very exploration oriented. It has a lot of stuff that other people write about areas, but then once again, that's a perspective thing, and it's more subjective than objective. So it's kind of interesting to see how they write about areas, but might not always be appropriate either. I don't usually send my kids there unless it's just pictures. But it really, especially if you're talking about a journey, Lewis and Clark, you can see the problems he had traveling that route much better through Google Earth than you would any other picture program that you're seeing, because you can see what he faced. And if he's right there and doesn't know what else is coming up over there, it's very powerful. So I can see in history and any history that depends upon geography, which most of it does. So I can see it would be pretty effective. But you probably have to just kind of get used to it. Maybe the examples I gave weren't the best for that particular purpose. Do you use it, Cheryl?
No, I don't. But I do have some teachers that do use it.
Kids love it.
They have the kids to find where they live and find their houses and things like that.
That's as much as I've used it with as well.
Yeah.
They like to find their houses or their grandma's house or something.
Which is really fun when you get a new student in the class. Show us where you lived.
Yeah.
And that's really fun for them to bring it up on Google Earth and go find it and show everyone the area.
That's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that before.
That would be interesting. 30% of my kids are from Africa.
Ooh.
Oh, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. To see what's around them. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Okay, so let's see if and someone said they had Chromebooks coming in, or a Chromebook lab.
We have one.
Yeah. So Google Earth doesn't work on Chromebooks. I'm just shocked that they haven't solved that problem, but
really?
Google. I mean, what's the story with that? But they have it. Because you have to download it, and you can't download it to the Chromebooks. You can do Google Mars and Google Moon on the server, on the website, but you can't do Google Earth on the internet.
Interesting.
Yeah, isn't that? I was really amazed at that they didn't solve that. So you can't, and there's no app that covers that. You'd think there would be. There's a Google Earth app, but it doesn't work on Chromebooks. So now I have had to warn everyone. And I bet they solved that really fast. So about the time I get that pattern down, okay, it doesn't work on Chromebooks, they'll fix it. So anyway, but just a warning for you at the moment. Okay. Then long-term projects. These are really cool. If you have a 6th, 7th, and 8th, like Dawn's about to have, and you have that semester period where you just get them for that period, a long-term project is a really good idea to have them.
I thought it was too. I like the idea that, you know, it was something that they wanted to learn.
Yes. Yeah. Genius Hour? Yeah. Yeah, that's
my favorite one.
You construct it for them, so you make sure that they stay focused and get what they're supposed to out of it. But it has some amazing results in that Genius Hour one.
Mm-hmm.
So so those are kind of nice. You can either have one like that service learning project that takes up all their time. It wouldn't be something like Genius Hour is 20%. But the service learning would be something they would work, put together, and go out and deliver it to the neighborhood, come back and debrief it, and then prepare it so the next group coming in could do it. It takes them their entire semester to do that. That's not something you think they're going to do anything besides that. But you build into it all the learning they're supposed to get out of that. So those are just kind of nice to do. If you don't have robotics you're supposed to cover, or programming you're supposed to cover, or something like that. Okay, then MS Word. So we kind of talked about MS Word a little bit. You started in 2nd grade is when I started, and I build from there. Yeah, by 5th grade they pretty much know. I don't get into merging and the other stuff that we used to do in middle school. I just don't think it's relevant anymore. So what do you guys teach with Word? So
I usually use it as...
Yeah.
They do reports, copy the spelling, make spelling sentences or vocabulary sentences, do some charts and tables with them.
Mm-hmm. That's nuts and bolts.
Mm-hmm.
Even with putting borders on and fancy fonts, and I'm kind of getting away from that because that's not that relevant anymore. It's fun, but I think that's more techie than it is tech-infused learning.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of more, and the further I get from that cool fancy stuff, the more I go towards a Google Docs sort of thing, where whatever they have on Google Docs probably is about as much as students need. So.
We set up, I do typing, just anything that has to be typed, sentences, essays, whatever. The very first thing we do when we go into the computer lab is we make a master document that's set up for them in MLA format.
Perfect.
So they can go open it, use it. Then I shoot them continuously through the year because they don't do save as, and they write over it, and we have to fix it. But that is our first lesson, is how to set it up in MLA format for them.
Good one.
And then they have to, we don't allow them to print from the internet. They have to copy from the internet and paste it into Word so that we don't get all the garbage, and they don't, so we use it for that. And that's really about the only thing that we use Word for. So if we go to Google Docs, it'll be even easier there. Then that research piece that Google Docs has will come into play, which will make my life so much better. So they'll actually footnote things by default.
Yes. Very good.
We don't have Google Docs, so I use it in a lot of the same ways that she was talking about. I've also used it to be a part of a larger unit, like a long-term project that we might be working on. Mind you, I only see the kids once a week, so for 2nd graders, I might do a whole lesson that's all about the golden rule, and then teach them their formatting skills, give them an opportunity to change the font size and color, centering, that sort of stuff, and then they come up with their golden rule poem and then show them how to use clip art, and we all end up with a poster that can be shared, but that typically takes 5 or 6 class periods, so that's almost a quarter. But I'm trying to teach a lot of different skills and tying it back into something kind of social learning about the golden rule as well. So we talk about bullying and cyberbullying and all sorts of stuff. So I kind of put it all together, and then it takes almost a whole quarter for that in 2nd grade.
But that's fine, because then Word is just the vehicle. All the other teaching that's going along with it really is what you're teaching. You just happen to be using Word. And I think that's the direction we want to go, is Word is a word processing program. So you teach in a word processing program, could be Word, could be Google Docs, could be text, could be whatever it is. So, but all those other things that go along with it. I really like that. I think that's exactly the right direction. So that's great. And I think Word is, so many kids still have Word at home. It's what they've always used. It's what their parents have used. So I think it's still valuable in that sense. And that will change, probably not for another 10 years, but by 10 years from now, I bet it's radically changed. And then,
what's nice is you can get Open Office if you pay for it, and the commands and everything are very similar. So, and as far as fonts go, my kids don't get to play with font size or fonts unless if we're doing something like poetry. Tell them it's not appropriate. This is a fun activity. This is where you can play with the fonts, and they get very excited.
That's good.
My kids love playing with the fonts. They always want to find the, quote, cursive one.
Yeah, they do too. Mine too. So I think that's, and search and research. I'll bring up my screen because search and research sounds like we're going to go and we're going to start studying. We're going to learn how to search and research on the internet. Well, yes, but before you do that, you have to do all the other stuff first. You just have to. So the search and research is what? 5th thing down. So you have to teach them, okay, you're going on the internet, you're going to be going all over the place. Be a good digital citizenship. These are your digital rights, to go and look for information and use information. These are your responsibilities, to not steal it, to be a good neighbor, whatever. You give them their list. So you're out there being a digital citizen. It includes these rights and responsibilities. Privacy, whatever you're doing out there, you have to do it privately. Legalities. So this is a complicated subject even for 5th graders, that what they can do at school, they can't necessarily do at home. They have to, it has to be in a school environment, a nonprofit school. I think all of them are. So, but it couldn't be at home in their home school, which wouldn't be a nonprofit. So it's not the school idea, it's the idea that it's school, a nonprofit school. I don't know why they make that exemption, that difference, but they do. So they can't create something and give it to Dad that Dad uses at his meeting at work. I'm good at PowerPoint, so Dad asked me to make it, and I made it for him, and he took it and he showed it at a meeting. Can't do that unless you picked legal pictures. So that conversation on legalities, and there's a lot of supporting information to go along with it. You probably saw some of it in the lesson plan. You have a long conversation with them about that so they can understand the legalities of doing that. And then, okay, now that we know all this, now we'll go search. So it takes a while to get to that, but there's your quarter lesson also, 5 or 6 lessons it takes to get through and then get to search and research. So if you have a project a 5th grade teacher wants you to do research for, you start it 4 weeks before to make sure. Now eventually the hope would be that your 5th graders, you start as the teacher who oversees all that, you'll start them in kindergarten. So by 5th grade, they're going to know their digital citizenship, their rights and responsibilities, the legalities. Yeah, I know all that. I know all that. Let's just go on to the search and research. Okay, good.
You're funny.
Yeah.
You're expecting my lower grade level teachers to do that?
Yeah.
We can't even get him to keyboard.
Yeah, I do expect them to, and I expect them to teach keyboarding too. I'm not saying it's going to happen, though. So you're right, but that is a tech-infused school, is to have those across all grade levels, all classes. So that is the way, ideally, it has to work. So eventually, the teachers will get it, and it might take until they themselves are comfortable with that before they're willing to teach it. It doesn't take a lot of time, really. It just means when they go on the internet, the teacher says, okay, we're rights and responsibilities, we're good digital citizenships, we're private. That took me 30 seconds, and the kids all go, yeah, we know all that. And it works. So, but it won't happen to kindergartners, and it won't happen to fifth graders if they don't have the groundwork laid.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my long thing about search and research. And then you get to search and research, and that's pretty fun. There's some really cool things, I think, in the lesson plans I gave you that will help that search and research go much smoother. But you have to get through the safety stuff first. That's my speech. What do you think? Except that I'm funny. Okay.
It's been a fun class, Jackie. Thank you.
Thank you. It has been great. I really appreciate you guys. A lot of good feedback. I've learned a lot from you. I know that's just always great to say as a teacher, but your experiences have really informed me an awful lot.
Is this?
I feel bad. I didn't.
Pardon me?
I would say, is this class usually always 3 weeks long?
I do different versions of it. I'll do 1 week. Was 3 weeks too long?
No.
Oh,
No, not long enough.
This was done during the school year. This 3 weeks would have killed me.
oh yeah.
I could have done it during the school year.
I think maybe I'll do less material next time. Even with the 50%, maybe. There are some high achievers out there, some of you that just couldn't let it go at 50%. So I think I'm going to try to structure that a little differently next time, because I appreciate your effort, but I feel like I drove you nuts sometimes. So.
Well, I do really appreciate all of the resources. I just didn't get a chance to get through them all. I kind of touched upon all of them, but I didn't really get a chance to try a lot of the things that I wanted to try, so I'm looking forward to still continuing to do that since I have the resources now. So that part of it is nice. And I didn't feel like I contributed as much as I could have, but, you know, life gets in the way sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Don't worry about that.
Well, I think it helps me to know what staff development I'll be working on next year.
It gives you a ton of topics you could bring up, and when they say something like, how do I do this? You have 31 resources now you could look at.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll probably
thank you.
So I'll get their certificates out to you. So I just want to. I try to personalize exactly what you accomplished, so I don't say you did Google Earth when you skipped that one sort of thing. Okay. All right.
So I've got a few more I got to get in.
That's okay. You've got time. I won't start this till middle of the week or so.
Okay.
Oh.
Thanks, Jackie.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.